Hello out there, my name is Laolu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. And here is my take for today entitled, How Nigeria Can Avoid U.S. Sanctions on the Killings. I have a few points. The first is that Christians, including myself, have seen a pattern of killings which strongly suggests that people are being killed for reasons related to their faith. There is no point denying that. Now, I was one of the brains behind the Christian Association of Nigerians in America, in the United States, around 2012, and I personally related with several of such Christians in the northern part of Nigeria especially, whose relatives have been killed because they were Christians. At least those were the words spoken to the victims by their murderers before killing them, most of the times in the presence of their children and their wives. There are tons of examples like that. Let me show you one of those. See this video.
Say, it's okay. Are you a Christian? I say, yes, I'm a Christian. Say, Habila, why we are preaching the Islamic way of gospel to you? You refuse to accept Islam. And I told them that I am a Christian. I am a Christian. Say, Habila, you can deny your faith in order to be safe. I say, no, I am a Christian. Say, Habila, do you mean you are ready to die as a Christian? I say, yes, I am ready to die as a Christian. One of them tried to fire me. The leader stopped him. Say, Habila, you are a good man. We know your history. Habila, you have opportunity to live. Only if you can deny your faith. We can leave you, you can live. I say, no. I cannot deny my faith. I am a Christian. Say, Habila, I will give you last chance. Are you ready to die as a Christian? I say, yes, I'm ready to die as a Christian. Before I close my mouth, one of them fired me through my nose. This is the entering place of the bullet, where the bullets enter through my nose. Yeah, this is the exit place of the bullet, where the bullets came out.
But it is also true that non-Christians, and more specifically, several Muslims have also been victims of these killings. Some accounts even say that there are more Muslim victims, as a matter of fact. So, the point is that both Christians and Muslims are victims of these egregious killings that is happening in our country and that's been going on for far too long. This is not a problem of today. We must say that. It's a problem that has been going on for at least more than a decade. Despicable killings in several parts of this country. Okay? And so, there are different reasons why people are being killed. And there are different motivations. So we shouldn't be frozen in an argument whether these are Christian killings or whether these are Muslim killings. What is important is these are Nigerians who are being killed on a continuous basis for no just cause. Therefore, we should try to work together, all Nigerians, both in government and those that are outside government. We should work together on how we can bring an end to these dastardly acts of violence that is taking people's lives without a cause and rather wickedly. I concede that we need to play down the divisive rhetoric. We really don't need to be divided over this matter. Christians believe that there are people that are being killed among their community for their faith. There is evidence to back that. There's also evidence to back the fact that there are non-Christians who are also being killed. And so we can build a consensus around the fact that Nigerians are being killed. And in my mind, that is the first thing that the federal government ought to do, namely to rally all of us behind the fact that we must together do everything we can do to end these killings, regardless of the motivations behind those killings. Let me say that again. We have to act as a people and our government together to end all these killings, regardless of the motivations. These killings are wrongful acts, they are violent behaviors, and they are acts of wickedness in whatever shape or form. And all of us can agree on that. We can agree on the fact that these are very wicked actions by the fact that they are Nigerians that are being killed and that their lives are being treated with levity. And so the federal government should give the security agencies the marching orders to compel peace and end the violence all across the country. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should announce drastic measures in line with what, by the way, he seems to have started when he told the new service chiefs in the villa on Thursday that Nigerians won't take excuses anymore. Mr. President, you cannot be more right. Nigerians no longer want the excuse. And so, Mr. President, you should insist and you should give the security chiefs timelines to deliver. The federal government should end all the contradictory, conciliatory approaches with terrorists and bandits which give an impression that they are being treated with kid gloves. We can start by demanding that those who among the terrorists and the bandits who want to put down their weapons and pursue peace can do so now. A timeline can be given them to do that. And after that, we should have an all-out onslaught against these purveyors of evil. If the federal government can set on this line of action, then all of us will join the chorus and ask the Americans to observe the changes in the way we are dealing with the killings. And as a matter of fact, tell the whole world that it has come to an end and we are ending it. This is the urgent task that the president should lead, and we can act now. The president can lead us. The security agencies can follow suit. The Nigerian people, whether Christians or Muslims, or regardless of age, status, or background, we can all come together and say enough is enough to these very wicked killings. And so this is how we can prevent any kind of diplomatic or punitive measures from the Americans or from anywhere in the world against us as a government and as a people. The Americans seem bent on taking some action. There are senators, there are congressmen, people in different spheres of life who have decided to give what is happening in Nigeria a particular coloration. We can end the killings now. Let us do it now. And yes, we can. There you have it. Inside Sources. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I want to open the show with a conversation with Nigeria's leading transparent general, retired General Ishola Williams. General, you're welcome back to Inside Sources.
Always good to see you.
Thank you. I want to start with what happened on Thursday when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu decorated the new service chiefs. He said something that I find quite commendable. He told the service chiefs that Nigerians no longer will accept excuses in terms of ending the banditry, in terms of ending the insurgency. What do you see to that? What's your comment on that?
I think he should have just finished with the decoration and then call a meeting of all the security agencies. Because when the new chief of defense staff went before the National Assembly committee that confirmed his appointment, he said one thing very, very important, and that is the military had been burning its time, energy, and burning money in doing what police should be doing. He said so. What does that mean? It means that there's a need for every agency, including the military, to stick to its mandate of public safety and security of the country. Our main problem is public safety. And we have refused to take the political decision from the president himself, actually his own predecessors, right from the time of Obasanjo 1999. And what is it? They believe so much that the army could solve the safety and security problems of the country. Big mistake. And they've wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of time, and wasted lives. We created, or it was established, the mobile police. The mobile police was established as a paramilitary force. And as a paramilitary force, it was supposed to be responsible for intelligence, counterintelligence, deterrence, and compelling bandits, criminals, kidnappers not to do their job. But today, who is doing that? Everything is confused. The military is running after kidnappers. Police run after kidnappers. You don't know the difference between mobile police now and the ordinary policing. And now the president himself said, I am convinced that we need state police. Therefore, we need to separate policing, activities and action from activities and actions that requires paramilitary force. And what I do is very clear to anybody. Banditry, kidnapping, criminality, all this violence going on in the mines, in the forest, and so on. Once you separate that, you then hand over policing to the state. And then you separate the paramilitary police from that. It will be the paramilitary police force at the federal level. They will have squadrons at each state level. Okay. But the policing is done at the state and local government level.
But the problem,
if that's what the new chief of defense staff is talking about, that makes sense. The second thing is that making a speech is not a directive. The president has to make a strategic directive in writing with his signature to each of the service chief or to the chief of defense staff
that
as from now on, focus on insurgency. IGP, focus on banditry, criminalities, and so on. But then, even if you write that strategic directive, he needs to reorganize the whole security agencies structure in Nigeria.
How?
Very simple, sir. The armed forces is there, insurgency. Paramilitary police, working with the new forest agency that they've just created, with the whole commandant general and all stars and everything on the shoulders, working with the mining marshals that Minister Laketu created out of the civil defense, working together, they will look after all these violent crimes that are going on. Mines, forests, everywhere. They look at it. But then they need very strong intelligence system with DSS. Very strong intelligence system with DSS. Because DSS, too, is supposed to focus on domestic intelligence. Okay. And not only that, also to focus on counterintelligence. An example, some Amatekun operatives were caught in the Southwest. What were they doing? They confessed that they were collecting 150,000 naira every month from the bandits. What does that mean? They know the bandits. And in most cases in Nigeria, if you look at when events happen, and the government says, you must arrest those people, within some few days, they catch the people. How come? If they don't know each other. These are the organizations we are talking about. That is the directive that the president must give to the ministers of defense and ministers of internal affairs. See how long it's taking us to argue about state policing. And the president himself came and said, I am convinced that we need state police. But then people are still blocking him. People are still blocking him.
Who are the people blocking the president?
If people want to do a coup, what are they complaining about? The governance now. And the point is this, is that, to me, there's nothing extraordinary about people wanting to do a coup in Africa with African military. Because as I keep saying, and everybody knows that, the military is the only opposition party in Nigeria and in Africa.
But you don't support military coup, because I think that whatever it is, we have to deculture ourselves from this idea of embracing soldiers who are trained to war and to kill. We have to, refuse to embrace them coming to governance. That's my own view, General.
Yeah, living in the past. Because the point is this, is that where they have been trained by the Europeans and the colonialists and things like that, the culture of followership, enlightened followership is different. The British Army officer will never think of organizing a coup. And if you look at countries who have maintained that sort of culture, like Senegal, for example, Senegalese officers, even when they were having problems with the last president, wanted to impose himself, they were still obeying that president. But behind the scene, they were telling him it can get to a stage in which, look at the case of Madagascar, the military put the man there, Rajoelina. They overthrew him. They had to join the people in the street. We don't know what's going to happen in Cameroon. We don't know what's going. In Tanzania, the army is part and parcel of the political party, right from the time of Nyerere. They are members of CCM.
Because they one-party state.
Yes. It was one-party state and led to one-party state. So it's difficult for them to move from one-party state now to that. Opposite, Nigeria is moving towards a one-party state. Every day, you see a governor declaring for one party, you see members of the State of Assembly for one party. So you have a situation which you have in some of the states, in which all members of the State Assembly belong to one party. What sort of system is that? Okay? And then the system in Nigeria is different for you to impeach anybody, whether governor or president. In South Africa, it's so easy. It's a vote in the national parliament. And what they do, just like a parliamentary system, you're off. You're off. Okay? So every coup you see in Africa is against governance. So if people go on the street, the military is defending Paul Biya in Cameroon. Okay, because looking after the military very well. But is the military really doing the protection of the people that the military was created for? The second mistake we also make is this, is that the military was not created for internal security
Yeah, you made
and
that
public
point.
safety.
You made the
But
point.
more and more, they are getting involved in internal security and public safety.
The problem is that in Nigeria, we have a serious crisis that is threatening even our territorial integrity, and people are coming inside. Some of those terrorists, some of those insurgents are also involved in banditry. So we have to engage the military.
No, you don't need to engage the military. This is what I'm trying to point out to you, because you have a paramilitary force.
Okay.
You have a paramilitary force that you are not using. You are using the paramilitary force as a police force. But you have a paramilitary force. You have refused to separate them to do their paramilitary work. That is the problem.
I see your point.
That's why one is coming for the organization.
So possibly we need to spend more resources on our mobile police.
Correct. Your mobile police is what you need to train. Do you know that the mobile police have special forces like the one of the army?
Do they still have them? Because
I saw one at the stadium on Saturday. Special forces written at his back. Mobile police.
Okay.
Civil defense. Do you know that they have special forces? Immigration. Do you know that they have special forces? Some of them have been trained abroad. And they've been trained here.
Okay.
So don't tell me.
All right. Okay, General. One last question. The Americans have been making a big noise about Christian genocide in Nigeria. Senators, congressmen, journalists, faith groups, they have been shouting that, the American government should make some punitive action regarding Nigeria because they are killing Christians. My view is that they are killing Christians and they are killing Muslims, and that we should just try and stop this killing. What's your own take about what the Americans are doing?
My own view too is like yours, that it's both the Muslims and the Christians that are suffering. Not only being killed, that are suffering. Okay. And it's a case of Muslims killing Muslims and some Muslims killing
Christians.
Okay. Therefore, if our intelligence system is working, they should be able to provide empirical figures to the Americans and say, see the number of Muslims killed, see the number of Christians killed. Sometimes you have read in which some go into churches and kill people in the churches. But they do that in other states. Some people do that too in other states. They go into synagogue, they go into churches and kill people there. Okay, so it's something that is common in any countries where you have extremist people who believe that they are the only way to register their dissent against religion. What is needed to be done is that the Christian clerics in Nigeria are the one pushing the Americans to sanction Nigeria because nobody seems to be caring about what is happening. So it's calling attention to really what's happening in the north, not in the south, for example. And I keep saying that Boko Haram, ISWAP will never come to the south. Never. So if anybody tells you that all these bandits that are coming in and coming out, they are coming from the north, it's a lie.
Why do you say that?
It's a lie. I just told you that they are collecting 150,000 naira every month.
From
bandits.
But you said that, your point is that you said Boko Haram or ISWAP will never come to the south.
Will never. What are they looking for? What are they looking for? What are they looking for? And I've also told people too.
Isn't the same thing they are looking for in the north that they will look for in the south?
They are making a mistake. No sensible terrorists or insurgents we say want to come and create a caliphate in Ibadan.
Okay.
It will not.
Anyway.
And the case of Boko Haram and ISWAP, they want a caliphate in Borno State. And you could realize that they have been focusing on Borno State. They use the other state just, to keep up pressure on the government. But they want Borno State to be the caliphate. And if they want that, why are the people in Borno State not resisting?
But General, as a last point, I wanted to respond to this. Just if you look at history, the jihadists, they were trying to come to Yoruba land, and it took the Ibadan forces in 1840 to stop them at Osogbo. So can we say that they don't want to come to the south, knowing the history?
That is your own story. And that was
that's the fact.
Yes, and that was in the past, okay, that they were stopped. Which mumu will come now from the north? But tell me another story. Ask me another question, I beg.
All right. Our time is fast, but it's always good to have these exchanges with you, your insight and the very simple way that you dice the issue of insecurity. I'm just hoping that the people that ought to are paying attention to some of your views. And thank you so much for those views. Thank you for always coming to Inside Sources.
Yeah. Let them reorganize. This problem is not so complex.
I believe so too. Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
Okay.
All right. And that's it. We are going to another segment where I will be hosting the former Minister for Sport and Youth Development, Comrade Solomon Dalong. He'll be talking a lot about his previous experiences with President Obasanjo, with President Buhari, and what he believes about President Tinubu. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue our conversation on the future of our great country, I have with me a prominent Nigerian comrade who had served as the Minister for Sports and Youth Development and who is also a lawyer. He's now a chieftain of the opposition ADC. I'd like to welcome, for the first time, to Inside Sources, Comrade Solomon Dalong. My brother.
Raul, it's a very long time I've not seen you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Good to see you again.
It's a pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So it's a conversation on the future of our country. So I'd like to start by saying, if you look at where we are today, as a country, do you think we are going in the direction of that great country that many of us believe is the destiny of Nigeria?
Obviously, the answer is no. And unfortunately, we have refused even to realize that we have missed our steps. And the greatest injustice you can do to yourself is to tell yourself a lie. When you are sure that this is the truth, but obviously you chose to lie. So because we have refused to accept the fact that we've missed our steps, and we're also not willing to listen to voices of reason. And to cap it all, there is even no deliberate intention of trying to take a picture of the country from where we are coming and where we are heading to. And this Marxist theory is always apt in trying to understand the dialectic materialism, which propounded that for you to predict the future with certainty and clarity, you must be able to review history and also understand how you arrive at the current phenomenon.
Right.
So Nigeria is now nosediving speedily into the abyss. And we are losing almost everything that is part of our civilization.
Wow.
And so for me as a person, yes, we thank God that we have a country. And my conviction has always been that we should have a country so that we can be able to resolve our differences and then retrace our steps and get the rightful leadership to be able to move this country forward, because Nigeria is blessed with everything but highly deficient in leadership.
Okay, very, very interesting introduction. And since you quoted Karl Marx, I also like a very particular quote of Karl Marx that said that the philosophers have interpreted the world. The point is to change it.
Yes.
How do we change this direction?
The burden lies basically on those who are constitutionally saddled with the responsibility or the power as it is contained in our Constitution. Now, our Constitution says the power belongs to the people. Now, our democratic experiment had indicated that power does not belong anymore to the people, but power now belongs to those who are expected to reappear after every election cycle for validation of their mandate. How did the people lose power. People lost power through conduct of credible elections.
Through the lack of conduct.
Yes. So, because we have lack of credible elections in Nigeria, then it means the people had been dispossessed of the constitutional right of ownership of power. Now, those who now are supposed to be subject of the donation of power by the people now possess the power. And because they have possessed it, they now manipulate it effectively to dismantle checks and balance. And so the situation where we are in this country now is something more than dictatorship, but we are heading towards monarchy, where the president is the absolute ruler of Nigeria. And I will corroborate this.
Okay.
When you have elected governors, chief executive officers of subnational government going to kneel down to greet the president, that is evidence of complete surrender.
Is that publicly or privately?
Of course, when the elections of Edo State was concluded, we saw the governor-elect then with elected leaders kneeling down in the villa greeting the president. We saw the governor of Niger State, Bago, sitting down on the floor in Maka, greeting the president. So these things, as minor as they may look like, they are very, very consequential.
But Mr. Dalong, you don't think that is just happening under this administration? You don't think that's what you're saying, that it's only happening now? Because there are also claims that, that kind of behavior in terms of personal conduct has always happened at least since 1999. I have stories of people that say that when people enter President Obasanjo's office, right from the door, they are crawling to come and greet him, not necessarily governors. But do you think that this behavior of our political elite, is it new?
It is not new, but that's the beginning of the gradual erosion and takeover of the constitutional powers of the people, which now has escalated into full-blown. Because the indices now are more manifest. How? It is no more safe for you to be in the opposition. That is why governors elected under the mandate of their parties are defecting every day. By the end of this month and the middle of next month, you will have a circle of all the opposition leaders defecting to APC. So this is what I'm talking about. That's a gradual erosion.
Okay.
So, but when this ultimately will happen, then you have to also take it and look at this scale of endorsement.
You mean defections?
That is defection, differently.
Okay.
And then there is the
endorsement.
Endorsement.
Well, by their own party.
Yeah, not only the party now. The endorsement is even by youth organizations. Some even civil society groups have joined. We will soon have churches joining and mosques. We are going to have, and at the end, because anybody who doesn't have the lever to stand and defend the truth will definitely go and endorse the president.
Which is the point that I want us to talk about, Mr. Dalong, because I know that you are a person of courage. Why is it difficult for some of those people that are defected, especially those governors? And you have said here today that some of them even crawl before the president. What kind of people are they that even though they have powers as state governors, they seem to be lily but they can't stand the man that all of them are going to curtail behind now? In his own time, he stood to his credit. We may have issues with his conduct, but we cannot deny the fact that when he was in their shoes, he stood against Obasanjo and the federal power. Why is it difficult for some of these governors that are defecting to behave the same way? I wanted to get your perspective on that, Mr. Dalong.
You know why I'm standing against the president is I took over where he was standing, because I am a student of those defiance attitudes of his. In 1993, we followed them against Abacha. We slept under the bridge. We were fighting the annulment of June 12th with them as our leaders. So I have refused to live where he left us. That's why I can afford to be saying anything to the president, because he said it to others. The question now is, why are others not doing? Their hands are not clean.
The what?
Their hands are not clean. You are a witness. You know my relationship with the late president.
Yes.
I don't spare Buhari. I looked at Buhari in the face and I would tell him anything I tell him. Why? Because my hands are clean. There is nothing you can hold on to and say, no, this is it. But even that is by the way. The basis of our relationship even with Buhari was founded on the fact that when he invited me to join him in politics, we covenanted. He said, Solomon, I know you. You have a very toxic mouth that spares nobody. I want us to covenant today that even I, Buhari, you will not spare me. And I'm not going to spare Buhari. I didn't spare him when he was alive.
He told you that?
That was even our covenant. I didn't spare him as a president. I didn't spare him when I was a member of the cabinet. When I left, I didn't spare him. In fact, the last time I met him, that I didn't see him again until he died, was one of the most, I can say, it was a very hot day for I and the president. Because I took him up on issues.
But he had left power now?
No. He was a president. I was
out of the cabinet. Oh, you were in or out?
Out.
You were out already, okay.
So I went to him and I took all the campaign promises and faced him. Which of these can you tell me in truth that we have been able to achieve?
So what did he tell you?
He couldn't answer.
Interesting.
He couldn't answer.
Wow.
At the end of the day, he told me, oh, I am not aware that these issues are as deep as the way you presented it. And he appealed to me that I should always find time to come to the villa, see him, and abreast him of the situation. And that was the last time I saw him. Oh, wow. So it is difficult to face a leader and tell him the truth if you yourself is not too sure of yourself. These governors have collected a lot of monies from the withdrawal of fuel subsidy. They have nothing to show for it. They have also received a lot of revenues from the VAT, from the increase in electricity tariff, from the increase of data charges and bank charges. They've also received a lot of revenues from the floating of the naira. So most of them do not have anything to show. And so the only soft landing for them is to join the bandwagon. But the danger they have not seen is that if this election is organized the way I know that the presidential election will come first, after the presidential election, most of the governors are going to receive a shocker of their lives.
Okay, so before we come back to that, since you already mentioned your relationship with former President Buhari, can you tell us the story of how you actually met? I think it would be good for Nigerians to know, because you had worked in the prisons and, he was also in prison for some time, or house arrest, I guess. Tell us the story of your meeting. Yes.
Buhari went looking for me. I was in my village in Sabongira. Then a call came into my phone on the 25th of December when I was coming back from church. And I picked the call.
You said 25th of what's year?
25th of December. That was around 2005.
Okay.
Then a call came to me and I picked the call. The man at the other end said, well, I am General Muhammadu Buhari. And I said, oh, Your Excellency.
Oh, wow.
Then we exchanged pleasantries. He wished me well as a Christian and prayed that, the country should benefit from our prayers and have peace. So I thank him.
At that time, were you, because I know that you are big...
No, then chairman. I was a lecturer in the university.
Oh, okay. You hadn't gone into politics?
No, I was a lecturer in the university. So I ignored it because I have this impression that Buhari do not like the Christians. So I ignored it. I didn't even give it a thought. The second year it happened exactly about that time.
He called you again?
Again on the 25th, when I was even returning from the church, about the same time, around 12 o'clock. So I picked the call and I answered him. I thanked him. Then I started reflecting. This man who doesn't like Christians is calling me a Christian on Christmas and greeting me. I don't understand. But still, I dismiss it. The third year,
he did the same thing. Oh, wow.
But this time, I had already gotten home and people were already in my house. So I put the phone on speaker. I listened to him. So after he finished talking to me, I thanked him very much. And I said, well, I hope that this will help this country move forward because I'm impressed by what you have done. So I switched off the phone, hang up, and then told the people that could they guess who I was talking with? They said, I said, no. I said it was Buhari. They said they couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I said it's Buhari. And this was the third time he was calling
doing
it. So I asked a question, could it be true that this man don't like the Christians? And nobody could answer the question.
Okay.
So that was the beginning
Of your
our
relationship.
relationship. Then thereafter, he invited me to see him in Kaduna. And when I went, I met him in Kaduna. That was the first time I was meeting him face to face too. And then we covenanted because the first thing he said after exchange of pleasantries was, Solomon, I know you. You are somebody with a very toxic mouth. You don't spare anybody. Don't spare me. So we covenanted, and that was the beginning of a great relationship.
Interesting.
Even though it became a bit difficult while I was in government and even when I left government. And the difficulty was even caused by him because he tended to portray how he loved me so much, even publicly.
Yeah.
And this earned a lot of bad blood.
And envy.
Envy for me. And even when I left office, it was difficult for me to see him. And the last time I saw him, he was very angry. Why I was being blocked to come and see him. It was very bitter. And so he called his protocol people and told them, look, from today, you don't have the right to give him an appointment. Each time he wants to see me, he should call you. I will give him an appointment. That was the last time I saw him.
Wow.
Even when he left office. I went to Daura to see him after he left office.
Were you able to see him?
I didn't see him.
Even though you went to Daura?
I went to Daura. I slept in Daura, but I couldn't see him.
What happened?
When I got to the house, they told me he had gone to the farm. But I informed them beforehand
that you were coming.
Yeah, I was coming. And I traveled to Daura. I just see him.
Do you think that, because I also know that, of course, you didn't come back in the second term, 2019 to 2023. Why did you think he didn't bring you back as a cabinet minister?
Well, I will volunteer what we discussed with him for the first time today.
Okay.
I went and met him after the constitution of the new cabinet. I congratulated him for the new cabinet. And the first thing he told me was, please be patient. You have done your best and you have served your country selflessly. But whatever would have happened, take it as an act of God. Then I said, Mr. President, I think you will be fair to me to try to help me ventilate my curiousness. What happened?
You asked him?
Yes. Could it be that you have lost confidence in me, or what actually happened? And then he told me, well, he will not be able to explain what happened, but I should take it the way he said it. It was when I left his office.
Okay.
I came out. Then the ADC, the then ADC, was the one who told me, said, look, you just have to take it the way it happened. Baba submitted your name. You were vetted, but along the line, your name was removed to balance up certain interests. So take it like that. So that was what actually happened. So to me, I knew he was fair to me. But of course, the system, which I had a running battle with them while in office, I lost the war.
I want us to move to talk about the current president because you also had, like you said, he was your leader and all of that. But one last question. To what extent do you think the fact that Buhari couldn't achieve all the things that he wanted to and he promised, what role did you think the Cabal played in the frustration of that agenda, that change agenda that many of us, including myself, supported in 2015, and which was how we got to government?
There are so many great men that serve in Buhari's government, honest, patriots, selfless leaders that today are living with pains. I'm not speaking for the vice president. I think he's one of them. And his pens could be that we were unable to realize the change we campaigned for in 2015. That's my worry. Now, the Cabal took over this government of Buhari not too long after Buhari was even declared a winner.
Yeah.
They took over the government immediately.
Very true.
There are stories of what happened, and it's not for the public space. But Buhari was somebody who, by virtue of his orientation, was an institutional person. He lost his father at the age of 7. He went to a boarding primary school.
Right.
From a boarding primary school, he went to a boarding secondary school. From a boarding secondary school, he went into the army. All these ones are institutions that restrict him from easy access to social life. So Buhari was that type of person. So he didn't have so many people he fraternized with, whether from the community he grew up, except maybe classmates and colleagues in the army.
And family relatives.
Yes. And then in the army, he was also such a person with a charisma that not so many people came close to him. So he had not so many friends. So this was his greatest undoing of becoming a president. Because for you to be a president of this country, you need a network of friends, relations, associates across the country to be able to mobilize to form a government. Now, those who were very close to Buhari knew him more than anybody. They knew his weaknesses. And they have been with him for a very long time. So they capitalized on this to take over the government. And I will prove this point. The last Federal Executive Council we had, we was a valedictory session.
In 2019.
2019. After the valedictory session, I went to use the restroom and I came out. So the aides of the president, those who constitute the real cabal, element cabal.
Okay.
Because you know this cabal thing is operating outside. It uses elements
inside.
And they don't go for any high position. No. The cabal is interested in the position of SA to the president, PA to any position that is very close to the president to pick and tap information and relate to them to process and be able to know how they can manipulate things.
Wow.
So all these boys who constitute the machinery of the cabal in the villa, I came out and I heard them saying, that was when the president has been elected.
Right.
And they said, well, we have been with Buhari for a very long time. So all these people jumping around him, we will prove to them that we know Buhari more than them. Most of these people will not come back again.
Wow.
I had this, that I was told, by them seated. And when they saw me,
they cringed.
Yes.
Interesting. You know, it's so much to talk about. But I want us to now pivot as we conclude to President Tinubu. What's your relationship with him? You said that he was your leader in 1993 and all of that. You know, do you think that President Tinubu has a responsibility to finish the work that Buhari promised and couldn't deliver completely?
Oh, he started on a wrong footing. President Tinubu has allowed people around him to present their own agenda instead of his own.
Is it the same problem that Buhari had?
Yes. Tinubu is not pursuing his own agenda now because the people around him had done exactly what they did to Buhari, and it is the agenda he is pursuing. The Tinubu I know appoints credible people and brings them from anywhere. As a governor of Lagos, he brought people from different states to be commissioners in Lagos. That was the Tinubu I know. The Tinubu I know has a listening ear. The Tinubu I know can go out of his way to reach out to people, even those whom he believes do not like him. He will reach out to them. That was the Tinubu I know. But this very Tinubu as a president is a carbon copy of what is happening to Buhari. if not worse.
Wow.
Because people around the president now has transferred their enmity
So
to the president and handed it over to him as a jacket. So those the president ordinarily would have reached out to tap from their experiences and move this country forward, he's seeing them as his enemies. Tinubu succeeded in Lagos because he was a leader who was ready to assess anything that will help him succeed. But as it is now, he has been surrounded by people who paint a picture of hostility around him, making it look like he doesn't even have anybody that love him or like him as a leader. So you have him reacting. So the government is only reacting. What prevents this government from reaching out to some of the great brains who work with Buhari to tap from their experiences?
true.
Those people who work in government, they don't work for Buhari.
And it's the same party.
It's the same party. So if Tinubu has problem with Buhari, does he have problem with those who serve the government?
Do you think he has problem with Buhari?
Of course, if he doesn't have problem with Buhari, why did he have to treat Buhari the way he treated him?
He gave him a good burial.
Okay. That is the wish of everybody is to give his enemy a good burial. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Buhari told me in confidence, Tinubu nominated the vice president. Tinubu nominated some ministers. Tinubu nominated some advisors and even some heads of government agencies.
Right.
That was a partnership of the agreement they had. Can the president tell me now one person from Buhari's camp that is in his government? If he can point out one person to me whom Buhari brought, I will apologize to him publicly, and I'm going to follow whatever he's going to do.
But could it be because Buhari didn't want to nominate? Or do you think he was prevented from nominating?
No. The partnership requires that once you become a candidate, just like Buhari did, give me vice president when he won the government, give me this, give me that. That never happened.
Interesting.
That never happened.
Interesting.
I met with one of the closest person we have with Buhari, and I asked him, how did the vice president came about his, how did the president came about his vice president? And he said,
that is President Tinubu.
Yes, that he was together with President Tinubu in London to discuss this issue.
Yeah.
And Tinubu left him there. The next thing he saw Tinubu in Buhari's house, presenting his vice. And when he called Buhari, Buhari said, well, I'm just seeing them. So he didn't treat Buhari fairly. But let me thank him for giving him a fitting burial. But he didn't treat him fairly when he was alive.
Interesting. Very, very interesting perspective. Last question. You have worked in the correctional system. You worked in the prison for quite a lot of time. You then became a lawyer, did some work before you went to become a lecturer. This issue of presidential pardon that has been going on, some of those names that turned to become a very big controversy, now the president has changed and removed some of them. What's your own take about those pardons?
Well, for the president to listen to our criticism of the presidential pardon, and revisited the list, I think it's a good omen. But he has not done enough to that list. Because you don't weaponize criminality. There are people who committed crimes that people are very, very bitter. And so you need to allow long time of keeping them away from the society for the wounds to heal. I read a comment from one of the family members when the issue of Mariam Sanda came up and said, it has been reviewed to 12 years imprisonment. By prison calendar, she has less than 16 months to live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because a year, 8 months in prison means a year. So if you compute 12 years now, she has about 1 year, 6 months to leave the prison.
Because she I think she's done only 6 years so far. So that means she still has another 6 years.
No. If she has done 6 years, those 6 years.
Oh, I see what you mean. They will count for probably like 9.
The prison calendar.
Okay.
So it is even not enough to reduce it to 5 years, to 12 years. The wounds have not been healed in the minds of a lot of people. So the president needs to take a decision that will heal the wounds and not to escalate it. But I think whosoever prepared those lists for the president did not help the presidency. Because, I mean, drug dealers, notorious criminals, kidnappers, and husband killers. Were these the best people that deserved favor? No. I think there are Nigerians who have been convicted 10 years imprisonment for stealing yam, and some of them for abusing police or for abusing the emir, and there are some of them have been in prison for. There are some people that have not been tried for 10 years. They are still in prison.
Awaiting trial.
Awaiting trial. These are the people the president would have extended his magnanimity, not to go and weaponize criminals. What will happen to NDLA?
Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for the courage in your voice. Thank you for your service. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I prayed for this country to be a great country, and I wish Nigeria well.
All right. Amen. We do wish Nigeria well, all of us. And that is why we have Inside Sources. It's the reason why we always say that Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win. Partly because we will continue to keep at it, raising the important voices. My name is Laolu Akonde. Thank you for watching, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.